Chris Williams, Chris Hassel. Two guys named Chris. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Two Guys Named Chris here on the Iowa Everywhere. We're in the Channel Seed Studios. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. Oh, that's it, Hassel. It's snowing out right now in Iowa.
No.
Yep.
The first flakes, baby. The first flakes.
My 4-year-old was yelling at the door that she wanted to go sledding, to which I had to explain to her I don't think we'll get that much. It's trick-or-treating night here in the city of Des Moines, at least, and it's snowing. You just got back from L.A. in your the cozy confines of southern Florida. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, the weather here is great. I mean, it's highs in the low 80s today. But I'm going to tell you, that was one hell of a trip out to L.A. One hell of a trip in
Pretty
more
rough.
ways than one. The flights there were the worst flights I've ever had in my life. And it had nothing to do with the actual flight itself. It was my head. So my wife's sick. I don't know. I've got like part of it. I don't know. I had the worst sinus stabbing once we got to 30,000 feet. And it was for 3 straight hours on the flight to L.A. 3 straight hours of 9 out of 10 pain. The only thing I could compare it to, Williams, is I don't get Novocaine when I get fillings.
Why?
Because I don't like, one, I don't like shots. 2, I don't like the feeling of the numbness that lasts all day. So
You're an idiot.
So
Why would you not get Novocaine? That's the
because
stupidest thing I've ever heard. Just deal with
listen,
it.
I'm going to tell you, the last time I did it, which was about 5 years ago, the dentist was like, I've got a secret for you. I don't get Novocaine either. It's a dirty little secret. You don't need it. But that's the pain. That's the only other pain I could compare it to that I've experienced, thankfully. But it was a 9 out of 10 for 3 hours. The guy next to me, I think he thought I was like on drugs or something. He kept looking at me because I'm just sitting over there like this the whole time. And I'm moving back and forth. I'm shaking. It was horrible.
Why didn't you take like some Sudafed or something?
Oh, I did, baby. I had ibuprofen. Something like that has never happened to me before, and it was horrific. I would not go through that again for $1 million. So once I got there, I was fine. Oh, and to compound everything, Williams, I was in coach, smooshed up against a window.
With all those simpletons back in coach, you were having the headache of your life.
Yeah.
You poor bastard.
You'll be happy to know, though, I did get the first-class upgrade on the way home. I got the red-eye home. Golick had to drive me like a bat out of hell from the stadium to LAX to make my red-eye. And then it was so backed up at LAX, at the airport, for departures and arrivals, I had to get out of the car a half mile away and run. And I made it. There was nobody in the pre-check line, not a single soul, so I made it through.
It was that backed up at that hour?
Yeah. It was at, I guess it would have been at about 9:30 or 10 o'clock Pacific time, yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you made it back. Head feeling okay now? You ready to go? You ready to have a great show today?
It's okay, but my wife's got COVID.
Oh, she's got the vid, hey?
Yeah, she is not doing well. She's been
Have you tested
sick
yourself?
for many days, yeah. I tested myself. I'm clean. But she's got COVID. I have never tested positive for COVID. Never. And I used to, back when it was a thing, they used to have to test me several times a week at CBS to make sure that you didn't have COVID. And I've still never tested positive.
God, I've got it like, 3 times, I think?
Steve.
Anyways.
Steve says the over/under lower than points. The only over/under lower than points in an Iowa game is minutes until Hassel starts whining. It's funny, Steve. When I popped into our little deal here, I heard Williams saying something to Van Wink about how I'm probably going to complain about something for my flight.
I was mimicking you about what I just feared was coming. Was, the worst flight. It's a long ways out there, and
Look,
I'm all jet lagged and head cold.
I slept for 13 hours last night at least. I took a nap from 5 to 8, got up for 2 hours, and then went back to bed.
I don't think I could physically sleep for 13 hours. I don't think my body could do it.
Flying back and forth to the coast each week, and
so where you at this week? You at least you had a decent game. Colorado hung in there for a while.
Colorado, I was 7-6 at halftime, but still, I never had a feeling Colorado had a chance in that game because their offensive line is it might be the worst offensive line I've ever seen. Shedeur Sanders had less than a second and a half.
Did you see Deion said he's going to basically fire them all?
Well, he needs to. They're terrible. They are terrible. But it wasn't
kind of Deion's fault, though. But
yeah,
get into that at some other point. Like, you point a finger at yourself too, buddy.
It was really cool though being at the Rose Bowl. The thing that really strikes you is the grass, the magnificence of the surface. It is.
Why don't you come to Jack Trice Stadium on Saturday? See some real grass.
The grass. All right, go on your little Rose Bowl thing. I'm going to sit here and roll my eyes at you.
What?
Did they have a parade? Was it
there was no parade.
Did you see the old guys in the Blazers that have ruined college football for the last 40 years? Have you seen those guys? Were they there?
So
those
the thing
greedy
is, like,
old
the
bastards.
Rose Bowl, it's called the Rose Bowl, the stadium.
The best thing about the Rose Bowl is that the Pac-12 blew up, and now their whole little sham is blown up as well.
They have nothing to do with UCLA home games, though. I think they just come in once a year, and
the
that's
old
that.
bull guys.
Yeah, there's no. They're not putting these home games on. The thing I thought was funny was that UCLA was touting it up all week as this sellout. It's sold out. Then they never sell out. Never. They're like, yeah, we've taken the tarps off the stands. We're sold out. Get there. Oh, there's still all kinds of tarps on the stands. The huge tarps that say UCLA on both sides and both end zones. Now, there were about 70,000, but that place holds close to 90. They just don't take the tarps off and sell those tickets. But it was the most fans they're going to have at a game this season. And it was an awesome setting because it kicked off right at the time that a Rose Bowl normally would, with the sun out, and then the sun sets during the game and it's dark in the second half. It's incredible, Williams. It's just too bad you'll never be able to experience it.
I'm good. I got the Have you ever been to a Liberty Bowl on New Year's Eve in Memphis? Beale Street?
Yeah, they didn't have any Busch Light at the stadium, I can promise you that.
You Rose Bowl guys, it just cracks me up. Oh, the sunset. The sun doesn't set anywhere else. You know what else is? BYU. Utah State has a beautiful setting.
You know what? I'm going to send some pictures to Van Wink for him to throw up there.
I know what a California sunset looks like.
Yeah.
Lived there for 15 years.
Van Wink, have you ever been to the Rose Bowl?
I've never been to a game, but I drove around the outside of it once.
Shut your mouth. Shut your goddamn mouth.
I like the Rose Bowl. It's a great game. Glad that we have it. Can you just admit that those old bastards at the Rose Bowl set our sport back for 30, 40 years?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I hate those guys. Nobody's done anything to destroy college football more than not destroy college football, to keep it from progressing more than the old Rose Bowl guys.
I agree. I completely agree. And I'm not here talking about the game. I'm talking about the stadium and the setting. Oh, this week, by the way, you asked me, I'm going back to Athens. Georgia hosting Missouri. Why do you give me that wrinkled face? Missouri has one loss.
Is that the best game of the week?
I don't always get the best game.
Not going to Bama?
No,
LSU Bama?
We don't always get the best game of the week. Who said that we get the best game of the week? It just so happens that we've been at some of the best games of the week. But that's probably, if you're ranking the matchups this week, that's probably number 2.
I'm just in an ornery mood today. That'll be a great game.
Hey, what'd I tell you? You should have went to Lawrence, Kansas OU. What a game.
Well,
Didn't stand outside. Didn't want to stand outside.
Well, they were going to put us on the roof in a tent during a lightning delay. Rain the whole game. We probably would have gotten blown off the press box.
You've been electrocuted.
God.
Doing the game.
But yeah, I mean, we were thinking about going there, and we might.
Do you have any say in the games you go to? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know that you actually got to pick.
Yeah, we get to. I mean, our executive producer, who is one of the higher ups at Learfield, he's the one who makes the call, but he asks us for input.
Yeah,
and so
okay.
me and Golick and our engineer Savannah, and it's funny. We were usually it's on the Friday before the game, we go out to eat, and then we look at the potential matchups for the following week. So we were out getting some pizza in L.A., and he's rattling off some of the matchups that we might get for next week. And, there's I think it's Utah at Washington. That's a possibility. But see, it has to be a night game now. We've used all of our flex day games. Has to be a night game. And so he's rattling things off, and all of a sudden he gets to Rutgers at Iowa.
Oh.
And Golick just starts dry heaving. I mean, if we end up with that game, we are down bad.
Did you, Travis asked, did you hassle to Iowa State, Kansas? Was that a possibility?
It was not, because we needed to go to Georgia this week because of a tie-in with a sponsor, a Marriott tie-in.
Oh, okay.
We're doing some Marriott stuff on Friday night, so we had to go to Georgia this upcoming week. But yeah, the Iowa State Kansas, I would love to be there this upcoming. That's going to be great. Night game, probably black uniforms, battle for first in the Big 12. Winner of that game, Williams, is going to have a real shot to get to the conference championship game.
Meaningful football in November, and what a turnaround. You tweeted this after the game, and I'm right there. He was in my bigger, better, bolder Kelderman piece a couple weeks ago, but I just said with Campbell, I think it was after the Cincinnati win, where you sit back and you look at all the guys they lost, but the gambling thing, just how rough all that.
I forget about that too.
Yeah,
I don't even factor that in, because we've never seen these guys in a game. I'm just going back to how bad they looked at the start of the season.
And then last year too. I mean, you're 4-8. It's not like you are coming off of this.
Well, he was coming off 2 bad seasons. Because they did not come close to meeting expectations as a top 10 team in the country a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he finished 7-6 after that loss to Clemson and
last year's debacle. And then this year, I called it the most important game of the Campbell era at Ohio. You lose that. You get the fan over there trying to fight him.
That guy.
That guy turned the season around. I think that's what Campbell needed. He needed a kick. He needed a kick right in the sphincter.
Well, that guy gave it around.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to clean up a couple of these comments. Roe Hawk calls me a Liberty Bull elitist.
Yeah, you are.
One of my favorite comments I've ever.
Remember, I ran into the Liberty Bull guy.
I love that guy. He's great.
At Alabama.
I eat barbecue with that guy every 3 years when Iowa State goes there. It's phenomenal. I hope we get to go there this year. I'm looking at Iowa State's bowl potential. I'm don't really want to go to Phoenix the day after Christmas. Houston 2 days now. Oh, Memphis on December the 20th. Bring it on. Absolutely. We always rent out a house for the Cyclone Fanatic riders, preferably a haunted one.
Well, he said he'd love to have you guys back.
Oh, Matt says you're not running into Jerry the King Lawler in L.A. like you do in Memphis for the Liberty Bowl.
I was disappointed. I thought there would be a lot more stars on the field for that UCLA Colorado game.
No
because
stars?
of Coach Prime. I mean, no. I didn't see like T.O. was there, but T.O. was at every Colorado game. There were some former players for UCLA and Colorado, but I did not see. The biggest star I saw was Joey Molinaro up in the stands.
Dude, I love that guy. Are you friends with him?
Yeah, he's great.
Dude, he's one of my favorites. He's
incredible.
His bits are just phenomenal. Does he produce all those by himself and stuff?
I
or he
believe
doesn't
so,
have
yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes
Because
it.
a lot of that stuff is low budget. Like he's shooting it himself, editing himself. There he is with his daughter and wife.
Man of the people.
Was he saying placenta?
Yeah, placenta.
So, back to this Iowa State game. You know, the best part, I think that, especially when I watched the game back yesterday, they really didn't play very well. Honestly, like that was like a C type game for them. They had it just Beck missed a couple of what would have been easy touch. Matt said this to me. Matt was over at my house on Saturday night. He's like, "How many points did they leave on the field?" And we were trying to figure that out. I was like, "I think if you want to be conservative, you'd say like 10, but maybe it's 17, 20. Like they really didn't execute well at all. There were bad turnovers. There was one, defensive lapse that essentially gave Baylor a touchdown.
Isn't that so encouraging, though?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They weren't even close to an A game.
Yeah.
Yet it never really felt like they were in danger on the road at Baylor.
And, Rocco Beck was due for a game like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't bad. He still played winning football for the most part. But he's still playing football at this level he's still a freshman. And so, you knew a game like this was coming at some point. And if you can get it out of the way and still win by double digits on the road, yeah, I came away really encouraged. And I also wonder, too, and this is probably the optimistic side of me. I'll pick your brain on it. So Iowa State, via our friends at Circa Sports, is a 2-point favorite over Kansas. Okay, it's down to 1. There you go. Boy, I love the fact that Kansas beat Oklahoma, though. That makes it even better. Because, their students are throwing goalposts in the lake. They haven't beaten Oklahoma since Terry Allen was the head coach in Lawrence. Feeling really good about themselves. And then you come to Ames for a night game. It sets up well. Now, Lance Leipold's a really good coach. They'll be ready to go. But it sets up better for Iowa State, I'll put it that way.
I wonder if they're just going to stick with Bean at quarterback because things are going so well. If Daniels is ready to go, I know he's a star, but man, they're winning games with Bean. Bean is it. I saw him a lot at North Texas when he was really raw. The guy can just flat out move. He is slippery, really tough to catch. And when he gets in the open field, it's over. Who do you think Iowa State would rather face, Bean or Daniels?
Bean.
You think so?
Man, I don't know. Right now, maybe not because he's playing so well. But Daniels, do you remember Daniels when he showed up to Big 12 Media Day this year and he had the Apple Watch playing his highlights?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he comes back and throws things off a little bit.
Yeah, I know. You're right. So all I know is when Daniels is at his height, he's a Heisman type guy where he's in that conversation. But Bean, he seems to be the secret sauce. If you read post game comments from these from these Kansas players after the game, I think they like him more. I think they want to block for him more. I think they want to play for him more. That is the vibe that I get. So yeah, you may be right. You may be onto something. I don't think Daniels, from what I understand, is going to come back though. Like it seems like he may even sit out the entire year.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Cam Rising's situation at Utah, where each week you wonder, and it just doesn't happen, and then finally it sounds like he's not going to come back this season. So maybe be the same thing with Daniels.
Well,
look, Kansas.
I asked Bloom this. If he wants
ahead.
to hit the portal, that guy will make a lot of money.
Who?
Daniels.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's already making some. But what's the ceiling at Kansas? I don't know for the football team.
Matt's got the video of Daniels playing his highlights on his neck, on his gold chain at Big 12 Media Days. It's a kind of a bad look right there, nonetheless.
Kind of a douche
The
look.
big flex right there.
Yeah. Okay, Two Guys Named Chris, presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery, Channel Seed Studios. We are entering the month of November. Iowa State is in a tie for first place in the Big 12. The following teams are 4-1. Oklahoma, Iowa State. Oklahoma State has come out of nowhere.
Iowa State's their only loss.
Yeah, it just crazy. So we've got Oklahoma and Oklahoma State playing this weekend. You also have Texas and Kansas State playing this weekend.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's
11 a.m.
Be a good game.
It's a great day if you're a Big 12 football fan. 11 a.m. is Texas, Kansas State. 2:30 is Bedlam. 6 o'clock is Iowa State and Kansas. Kansas, of course, sitting at 3-2. I've forgotten that Kansas went on the road and lost at Oklahoma State 2 weeks ago. And when that Oklahoma State team left Ames, we all had left Mike Gundy for dead. We thought he was done.
Right.
I did. Like I thought it was over, and they've done an incredible turnaround. But I mean, here's the deal, Hassel. You look at Iowa State's schedule. Let's be realistic. You've got Kansas at BYU, Texas at home, at Kansas State. Iowa State probably.
Let's be realistic. I think they can win those two games, and then everything's on the table for the last two games.
I'm saying if we wanted to rank these Big 12 contenders, I think Iowa State probably has the toughest road from here on out.
Well, what about Kansas State? They have to go to Texas. Iowa State gets Texas at home. Though Kansas State hosts Iowa State.
Yeah. That'll be a brutal scenario.
And look,
the last time
Iowa State is not in a spot where there's a better than 50% chance they're going to the conference championship game. We're not going there.
But you have a shot.
But yes, you have a shot, and the way the schedule sets up, your two most winnable games are the next two games. And then all of a sudden, you win those. You're 6-1 with 2 games to play. And yeah, you've got your toughest opponents. But you've got Texas at home in mid-November. And where's Quinn Ewers going to be?
that could be his comeback game.
Could be.
Matt, pull up Texas's schedule here real quick because I am wanting badly for Iowa State to play Texas and both of those teams. Yeah, so Texas has Kansas State this week, which will be really tough without Quinn Ewers. I would consider taking points in Kansas State there.
What's Kansas State getting?
I think 6 is what it was, 5.5 or 6. I would strongly consider that.
Wow. ESPN has it at 4.
Okay. So it's already dropped. That's kind of what I thought would happen. But how sick would that be if maybe you get a night game, Iowa State and Texas? I don't know what else is on the schedule. But if both of these teams win up until then, that could be a big noon kickoff type scenario. Like that could be a
oh my God,
national game of the week.
If Iowa State gets a big noon, what is Bloom going to do? Especially if Iowa's on the cock the same week.
Oh, is he Bloom all up in your grill too?
Iowa's probably playing Rutgers on the cock while Iowa State and Texas big noon. Oh, Bloom is
the
just
only
feeling
other
himself,
games
man.
that would potentially be Washington at Oregon State. You got UCLA at USC and Kansas State at Kansas. Could be a decent game too.
Anything in the SEC for ESPN purposes? No. That's probably when the SEC is all playing those FCS schools.
Well,
they all do that.
what about
Exactly,
the Big Ten
same.
that week? Is that not a week where you would get a?
Yeah, there's nothing really SEC. Big Ten looks like Illinois at Iowa, Michigan at Maryland, Minnesota at Ohio State. Yeah, there's nothing.
Michigan at Maryland? I could see that potentially being
Maybe.
a big noon.
Yeah.
Do they
Michigan.
stay away from Michigan due to the scandal?
Hell no. No. I think that makes them even more interesting, and more people will tune in if you put Michigan on.
Fox has never been to Ames.
You're talking about big noon?
And it's Texas. Think about it this way, though.
Yeah.
It's Texas, and they have that big noon slot that often gets Big 12 games, and they like to go to. It's not really like game day. They like to go to the game that they're broadcasting. It feels like Fox does
Most of the time, yeah. They'll every now and then, like there was the other week, they did go to Ohio State at Notre Dame.
Just feels like that could be an opportunity, but both of these teams need to take care of business to get there. All right. Before we get into the Kelderman Manufacturing Bigger, Better, Bolder, you mentioned Bloom. Boy, Don Hassel has just had a hell of a weekend. So you mentioned in our rundown that your dad was all amped up yesterday. He's coming at me on Twitter about some things. It felt like
he's been
really,
after your ass.
Yeah,
and your kids. He's going after your kids.
Came after my daughter the other day. I was very offended. Bloom, it was the center of your dad's text chain on Saturday. Is this correct?
So you always know when things are going great for the Cyclones and maybe not so great for Iowa State or for Iowa, when my dad starts talking about Bloom. I wake up and I hear a text from my dad to the group text. I see that idiot Bloom got into it with Iowa fans last night. What a fucking soft moron. I mean, living rent-free in my dad's head. Because Bloom started pumping out his chest about how Iowa State is on ESPN and Iowa is on the cock.
The best part of what Bloom did there, though, Bloom is very cerebral when he does stuff like this. Is like Bloom knew exactly what he was doing, that Iowa State was just on ESPN Plus.
Right.
Like that was part of Bloom's genius. The best part was watching the Iowa fans just lose their minds about it.
Because they hate Bloom. Bloom gets under their skin.
It's great for Bloom's brand. He's the bagman at Iowa State.
This is great. His brand is that and the Amish bench. Bloom is basically an honorary Amish person now. And
those Amish fly swatters, by the way, still in my garage. They still reek. I can't
smell
bring them
like
inside.
Garbage. I got home for my red eye yesterday morning. I pull up to the house. What the hell is that in my yard? Oh my God, it's another sign. What does that say? Oh, Amish benches sold here. Another Kelderman Manufacturing sign with an I-State logo.
Kelderman put his logo at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the bat sign. As if you would wonder where it came from.
That I have been so tired since I got home, taking care of the wife who's sick. I haven't even moved the sign. The sign has just been sitting there for over 24 hours in my front yard. Kelderman sent me a DM last night. This guy's nuts, man.
He's nuts.
He sent me a DM at 11:22 p.m. last night. So I'm in bed. He says some guy's house in Nashville. We will be up until you guys start recording. look forward to listening to the show on the plane ride from Nashville to Vegas. So Kelderman is out partying in Nashville, doesn't go to sleep, stays up through the night, has a flight to Vegas, I guess, right about now. What? Does this guy just not sleep? Is he nocturnal?
He's one of a kind. I say that in the best way possible.
He said I inspired him a couple of weeks ago. He went and splurged for first-class tickets because he saw that I did.
I had a text message from Kelderman at like 4 o'clock in the morning calling himself a first-class elitist, and he sent me a picture of his like priority boarding and all this stuff. Yeah. Kelderman Manufacturing, let's do our bigger, better, bolder performance.
Yes.
Bigger, better, bolder. Powered by Kelderman Manufacturing.
I want to give a shout out.
You've still forgotten that Van Wink's going to come in and just mute our mics.
He literally jumps on top of me every time. I can't even finish the read.
He's so proud of that because that's his voice.
Can we add Kelderman? Can we add Kelderman throwing the sign in Hassel's yard to our poll today? That's bold.
Can if you want.
It's bold.
It is bold. How about he probably made his daughter come up here again? His daughter lives like an hour away.
I can only imagine.
He calls her up. Hey, sweetie, you mind picking this bench up at the FedEx and taking it up to Delray Beach, sticking it in Hassel's yard again?
Be to ship that. Those things are heavy.
I know they're heavy.
I have 2 of them that he's put in front of my camper.
I mean, what do you think they weigh? 30 pounds? 40 pounds?
Oh, they're more than that. I would say they're closer to like 60, 70 pounds.
I mean, the guy, he must be a billionaire. He's flying first class. He's paying for a 50-pound sign to be shipped
the laser
down to
cutting,
Florida.
the laser cutting that he does with the sign, you can hire him for that too.
Now,
Kelderman.com.
who makes a better piece of gear? Is it Kelderman or is it the Amish?
I'm going with Kelderman.
I think we should have a side-by-side competition. Let's get an Amishman, and let's get Kelderman. And let's see who does it better. Let's see if Kelderman can make a bench, a glider bench, that Bloom can put his little 28-inch fanny on.
And I love, too, that Bloom just keeps this Amish bench bit going. It's like every week he has to take a picture of himself sitting in this bench to post on Twitter.
That was hilarious what Van Winkle posted going around trick-or-treating on Saturday night.
He had that.
Scariest thing I've seen in the neighborhood.
That thing front and center, right in the driveway.
This. And it's that damn... So he just puts that out in the front of his yard?
Yeah. I really want somebody to buy it. Like, I have to see it every day.
I think someone should just go take it. Is anybody
It's
really
hard.
going to care if
I
somebody
had to
goes
haul
and takes
that
it?
thing from Ankeny to Bondurant in the back of my truck. Do you know how heavy those Amish benches are?
Well, they're plastic. How heavy can they be?
Bard Music says the down corn reel over the Amish bench. Keith says buy an Amish bench, get a free placenta candle as our gift.
By the way,
Paul wants to know if Kelderman can make a good fly swatter.
yeah, you could probably make some like a titanium fly swatter.
One more. Shane says Bloom's sitting on the Amish bench watching his wife shovel snow.
Can I jump in real quick with my Kelderman pick?
Yeah.
Speaking of snow, did you guys see the Dort College Briarcliff game?
Oh, yes.
In the snow this weekend?
This is awesome.
Amazing
that
video.
was the first snow
Yes.
video of a football game I had seen this year. So what is
And
that? That's up in where? Somewhere in northwest
Sioux
Iowa?
Center, Iowa.
That's like Sioux City area, yeah.
Sioux City area?
Sioux Center, to be specific.
That is so cool, too, because this isn't like, they don't have heated fields. They don't have anything like that at this NAIA level. These boys are out there rumbling around.
And they're pushing that snow with a John Deere tractor.
It's so great. I love this, Matt. Great poll.
Dort won 49-0, so poor
My neighbor was at that game.
Briarcliff.
She goes to Briarcliff, and she was texting. It was Hutchison's daughter, Matt. goes to Briarcliff. So yeah, we were kind of following that one along. These highlights are just great.
If
you're
you're a
watching
college
on YouTube.
kid, that's the best. Go sit out and watch football in the snow.
Hell yeah.
So along the same lines here. My bigger, better, bolder is, hey, I want to give a shout out to high school cross country runners. They had their state championship meet over the weekend, and it was freezing cold in Fort Dodge. Hassel, I'm assuming you've covered some of these over the past in your prep career. These kids work so hard. Cross country is a year-round sport.
Wait,
It's
who
brutal.
paid you to make this your
Nobody.
triple
I have
B?
a relative who
These
plays.
kids were. You sound like the people calling up the WHO TV
See,
newsroom.
it's
Why
people
don't
like
you. Come
you.
out? You come out. My daughter is on the #1 ranked softball team in the Midwest for her
It's
8
people
and
like
under.
you, which are why I'm doing this, because nobody gives these guys and gals any love. Nobody's doing pep rallies for the cross country team. There's no streaming for the cross country team. There's no NIL deals.
Well, cross country doesn't make any money.
Well,
Why would they?
I'm giving high school cross country runners
Come
a
on,
shout out.
this has to be someone paid you.
Nobody paid me. This is a
You
great.
must have do you have a relative on the team?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Okay, who is it again? Your cousin?
Kind of.
Is he blood?
No, he's not blood. It's through marriage, but nonetheless.
I was an elite JV cross country runner in high school, so I appreciate this.
Yeah, those kids don't get any love, Matt.
Sure, they work hard. Yeah,
Why are you making fun of them?
I'm not making fun of them.
It feels to me like you're making fun of them. It
It-
feels to me, Chris, like you're talking down to them.
That's really odd that you would.
Because it was freezing cold here.
You were probably
You
hanging
wouldn't
out
know
with-
this. You're walking around Hollywood with your big national radio friends, and you didn't even realize it was going on. Okay, it's
I had to
freezing
run a
out.
half mile from Golik's car to the airport entrance with my.
Get to your first
Suitcase.
class. You've lost touch with who you are and where you came from. And I'm saying these Iowa cross-country runners had a hell of a weekend. It was freaking like 30 degrees, and they're out there running around in their tights.
That's what they do. They love that shit. That's all they care about. I've got friends that did cross country. That's what they love.
Shout out to the cross-country runners in our great state.
What about all
Those
the
kids
cross
work
country
really
runners in the other states?
Well, because
My
we're
bigger, bolder,
Iowa
better
everywhere. We're not Nevada
goes to-
everywhere. All right?
Ethan Crankhouse from the Fort Dodge swimming team. This guy, I tell you, he works so hard. These kids work so hard at swimming. Give them some love.
Jeff says if they were the elitist rowing crew, Hassel would like it. I agree, Jeff.
No. Look.
Elitist Hassel rears his ugly, sad head again.
Cross country, and who do they run for?
Jared, hating on cross country. What an Eastern Iowa elitist move. I would agree.
One of my best friends was on the cross country team.
Then give him some respect. You don't have to just talk down to these
You can
kids.
respect them without
I'm trying to prop him up.
dedicating-
I'm trying to give him a stage on a very popular talk radio show in the state of Iowa. That's
Well,
what I'm
we
trying to
aren't-
do.
we
I don't know
aren't
why
a
you have
radio
to
show.
shit all over him.
You were not a radio show. You should know that. You created this whole thing.
I said sports talk show, didn't I?
You said radio show.
Okay, well, yeah, we ain't a radio show. My apologies.
Radio program. All right. Can we get back to things that actually matter, like college football? Because that's
so
where I'm going
these
with my
cross-country
Triple B.
kids don't matter. Their
Not
lives
really.
have
Not
zero
really.
value.
Not in the grand scheme of things. I'm going back to that Kansas-Oklahoma game. And Oklahoma player LV, that's his first name, LV. Is that a Roman numeral? LV Buckley Shelton. He's a loser. They lost the game. But this kid did something I don't think a lot of people could do. After the loss, the field storm, students come out, and this
man.
idiot goes up, puts a camera right in his face, and puts the L right in his face mask with his hand, and he's yelling at him, calling him a loser, and this guy doesn't even react. He looks at it, smiles, and just keeps walking to the tunnel. I mean, look, I really don't think there are a lot of players in the heat of the moment like that could have taken that in stride. And that kid was lucky he did that to LV and not somebody else.
Good one. And it also, I mean, we even saw a deal this year where Iowa State's head coach reacted to a similar type of situation, right? Like, I mean, it wasn't
Campbell?
up in his...
Yeah, what would Campbell have done? What would
that's my
Campbell have
point.
done had that guy gone up and put an L in his face?
I mean, I don't think Matt would have hit him, but like
He'd have put him in a coffee can.
So no, that's a really good one. It also shows too. I mean, that's just one fan, but God, Matt, you've experienced this. These Kansas fans, you would love them. You would fit right in there.
Who, me?
They're all popping their collars. They're
What are you talking about?
They're very snooty.
Wait, you think this is a Kansas thing?
Yeah, I
This
think that
this sort of thing happens on every campus, on every field storming. You got these idiots now for clout. They'll record and do something to these teams, these guys on the losing team, in hopes that they can post it online and get a bunch of retweets.
You think that he was trying to get hit?
No, he wasn't trying to get hit. He was trying to do something for social media.
I don't like
and
Kansas
make fun
fans.
of the guys that lost. Like, if you're going to storm the field, celebrate with your team.
What
Don't
about
go
this goalpost thing that Matt's showing video of right now? How old school is Kansas to not have the goalpost that just bend down, right? Like they
And what
after the game.
what
These
in
guys
the
actually
hell?
tore down the goalpost.
And they threw it in like some horrible looking mucky pond.
Yeah. Max Olson from The Athletic followed these guys around and wrote a great piece about it. It was great. That's like reminded me of Lake Laverne up at Iowa State. They got a pond that looks just like that. But yeah, like I thought
You got snakes in there with legs.
you go to all the games. Don't they all have the goalposts
Most
that
of
just
them.
bend down now?
Yeah, most of them they take them down and then they have fans
Kansas
storm
is
the
so
field,
old
but there's
school.
security around the goalposts so you can't do anything to them. But they did it at Tennessee last year, Tennessee, Alabama. That they took it right
Yeah.
to the river.
That was crazy. That one was freaking crazy. Iowa Nepo baby. I could see Hassel wearing layered polos with his collars up in 2002.
No. I
Was
wasn't
that when you
prep-
were living with the priests?
No, that was 2004 when I was living with the priests. 2002.
I met
that was
somebody
huh?
who went to. I met somebody. I don't remember who it was. It went to St. Ambrose.
Yeah.
And they said they were there the same time as you, but they didn't know you or anything. But they've heard you tell stories, so they're like, and he's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that you could live with the priests like Hassel did.
It was like, I don't know how it happened. It was like overflow housing for sophomores. And like if you didn't get into the main dorms, you had to overflow into the freaking priest's hallway. And it was like 20 guys. Of course, they were all guys living on the priest's hallway.
Just a bunch of guys sitting around talking about Jesus. Let's move on. I want to give a shout out to, real quick, Terraplex Ag, our sponsor of the month here on Iowa Everywhere. This is cool. So they have an RV spot at Iowa State, Hassel.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday afternoon, Daddy's going to get to fly a drone.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I'm meeting them over at their spot. They're going to let me take it for a spin.
See, again, here you go. You're getting everything out of the sponsors, and I'm getting nothing. You're getting your
Hey,
brand
you
new
could come,
kitchen.
but you're going to be in Georgia.
You're
got to go
getting
to
to fly a
Athens.
drone.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. Matt, do you want to meet me over there? Are you
Yeah,
going to be in
I'll be there.
on Friday afternoon? Come do a
Ooh,
little video
oh.
of me flying the drone?
I'll come up.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
It's going to be sick. All you farmers out there, if you're thinking about getting into the drone game, I know you probably have for a while. We've got you covered. Do it with people who sponsor us here on Two Guys Named Chris. Terraplex Ag. Check them out. Great dudes. Their CEO is the pride of Creston, Iowa, Hawkeye 10 country. Gotta love that.
Oh.
Let's go. Creston, number 1 team in the state, and they just knocked
cross
off
country?
Football. They just beat Harlan over the weekend.
How's the old Creston cross country team? The old Triple C.
Why do you just keep?
I tell you, these kids work so hard.
You are a bully. You're preying on. You are a bully. You're preying on these kids that don't ever. I'm trying to lift them up, trying to give them props, and you got to try and tear them back down. You're a bully.
No, I'm not a bully. I think there's something real fishy going on with your Triple B this week.
Iowa, Northwestern, circa opens it at 29.5 for the over-under.
I don't think it opened at 29.5. I think it opened at 31.5, and it was immediately bet down.
Circa opened it at 29.5.
Did they really? Okay, because it opened elsewhere at 31.5, and now who's this, Van Wink? Is this Circa?
This is what I found at Circa last night, 30.5.
Okay, this is last night?
Last night.
So it's been bet up at Circa, yeah.
Who the hell is betting the over on this?
Well, it's now at -6. It opened at Iowa -5. So a couple quick notes. Northwestern upsets Maryland over the weekend. They have a new quarterback. He had his third start. Brendan Sullivan is his name. He's actually decent. He had 265 yards, 2 scores. He can run. He had like 65 yards or something on the ground. But let's be honest. This is about Iowa. Hassel. Deacon Hill cannot start this week, right? Like, they've had a week off. This Labus, let's get him back into the mix. Won the bowl game last year. This Deacon Hill cannot start this game, right?
Well, we're going to date ourselves because most of the people I think will be listening after the depth chart, the official depth chart comes out. But I certainly expect Deacon Hill to be listed as the starter. You're right. Like, there is no universe where Deacon Hill should be starting this game. Based on everything Kirk Ferentz has said this season, just shitting all over Joe Labus at every turn. I just don't see any way Ferentz swallows his pride and goes with Labus this week on the depth chart. Now, I could see maybe in the game something happens and he might go to. I just don't. Do you really expect to see Labus listed as number 1 or even an or on the depth chart when it comes out on Monday?
No.
And Ferentz will say, well, we went through this last season. You wanted Spencer Petras benched, and you saw what happened. Does he think Joey Labus is Alex Padilla? Are they the same person in Ferentz's mind? As John Miller said last week on his brilliant Hawkeye Sunday podcast, Ferentz is gaslighting us with this Labus slander. Joey Labus played better in that bowl game than I've seen any Iowa quarterback play since the first part of that 2021 season when they started 6-0. I mean, he was like 14 of 24, didn't turn the ball over, led Iowa to a blowout victory.
Against a good defense.
Yeah. What? Now, okay, maybe Labus is picking dandelions at practice like you suggested. But can you blame him?
No.
How is this guy not getting a chance? Unless he's just going up to Ferentz and he's like, look, old man, fuck you. I don't even want to play. At that point, he wouldn't be on the team. What is Deacon Hill's completion percentage right now? 37%? I mean, we're talking this day and age in college football. If you're under 60%, you suck. And this guy is 37.8%. And he's turning the ball over. 3 turnovers the last game we saw him. And always have to say this. It's not his fault. He's being put in this position. In this incompetent offense. And look, Joey Labus goes out there. He's not going to go out and throw 3 touchdowns for 300 yards. But he can at least move around a little bit. He at least showed that he was competent in that bowl game. So what's he doing sitting on the bench?
Well, as Bard Music points out on YouTube, you're not there for practice, Chris. Your dad chimes in, Dawn, if Hill starts, I'm not watching, with an exclamation point.
Yeah,
I find that hard to believe, Dawn.
He'll still watch. That's the problem with this whole thing. With Iowa
all going to buy tickets.
They sold out the season.
Y'all are going to be there at Wrigley Field on Saturday.
Yeah,
way more Iowa.
Look like this is on the cock, right? Peacock.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You guys, you're not good enough to make it on a major network.
This total should close in the 20s as the low. There's never been a total that's closed in the 20s in college football.
What do you think about, just real quick, Northwestern they're not good, but they're better than we thought they were going to be this year.
Are they? I mean, they're. I think that they've
better than I
gotten
thought
better.
they would be. Yeah.
Van Wake, pull up Northwestern's results this season.
I think they're clear. I mean, I did not see them beating Maryland.
No, I didn't either. But Maryland's not a world beater.
Maryland is
either.
clearly going in the wrong direction in the last couple of weeks.
So
I mean, Northwestern seems to win like every other week. That's kind of their deal right now. They beat Minnesota.
They beat Minnesota. They put up 34 on Minnesota. Okay. Oof. It was in overtime, but still. Penn State killed them just like they did to Iowa. Nebraska beat them 17-9. And then they beat Maryland 33-27. Yeah. I mean, I just see all these teams kind of the same. I mean, I really do. I see them very similar to Minnesota.
You want to know the sneaky under that could top this one is that Iowa-Nebraska under.
You think so? You think that could be lower than this one?
It's possible, yeah. Have you watched them lately? I mean, they have a pretty good defense, and their offense is terrible. And it's going to be it's Thanksgiving weekend, so it's going to be pretty cold. Like, I could see that one being right in this realm.
How about I don't know if you noticed it over the weekend, but there were a lot of Iowa fans that were like, see, it's not just us. No one in the Big Ten West averages 25 a game. Like that's some kind of excuse. What a pathetic. There are 8. I think there was a list of the lowest scoring teams in the country. And it was the top 10 in the country, lowest scoring teams, and 8 of them were from the Big Ten. Big Ten is not a good conference right now.
I've really come on board with your theory, Chris, about the Big Ten West kind of holding each other back.
Yeah.
I really think you're right there. Because even like Fleck, like if you watched his teams before he got to Minnesota, like he's playing a totally different way now. Mm-hmm. Like it's totally changed him. Because he's like, let's just do this phone booth
That's how they play in
and
the Big Ten West. That's how it's done. Look, there it is. So from College Football Report, the worst Power 5 scoring offenses in college football. I don't think that's accurate, though. Because are they really only factoring in the points that the offense score for these points per game? Like, how many points has the defense scored? I mean, the offense isn't averaging 19.5 a game, is it, for Iowa? They're just averaging that as a team.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's third worst in the country behind Michigan State and Indiana, which that kind of goes against the logic there. Those are Big Ten East teams. The Big Ten has Michigan and Ohio State, and then clearly a drop down to Penn State, and then a huge drop down to everybody else.
Just wait until next year when Washington and Oregon are there and they're making half the amount of money that Purdue and Indiana are.
And Rutgers and Maryland.
How stupid is that? I get it.
I am going to be really interested to see, because now I've been to 3 of the new Big Ten schools this year. Washington, Oregon, UCLA. Only one I haven't been to is USC. It's going to be really fascinating to see how they change the Big Ten and how the Big Ten changes them. Because it's not going to be like Oregon comes in and they're still averaging 45 points a game. That's not going to happen. They're going to come down a little bit. But how are these other teams going to adjust when they're playing a totally different style? It's not only when you play Ohio State once every 4 years on the schedule.
What's interesting, too, is, part of the Big Ten's thing for years, it's because it's cold weather, right? Like, you play differently in
Midwest
Michigan
weather.
in November than you do in Georgia. Like, but now, like, the Big Ten is such a national thing. I mean, is Southern California going to adjust? I doubt it. I mean, they shouldn't. But you're right. Like, Georgia's numbers will come down. There's no doubt about
Georgia?
that. Or no, I'm sorry, Oregon's. I just said Georgia.
Oh.
But yeah, it's really fascinating because that's how these conferences, though, Chris, when they were all created, be like, oh, well, they play, this thing in the 70s and 80s. Well, that's a wishbone conference, and that's a well, now, like, none of that really matters. You look at this new Big 12, like BYU's at West Virginia this weekend, right? Like, none of that stuff matters now.
The only two schools that really stand out that'll be like good weather, no matter what time of year it is if you go to UCLA or USC. Because Oregon and Washington, it's not going to be extreme weather, but it's not going to be great.
Couple other notes. Kirk Cousins blows his Achilles tendon.
Achilles?
Yeah.
Achilles.
Whatever. He's out.
How you feel about that? Because you've been a Cousins hater over the years.
I'm not a Cousins hater. I've never been a Cousins hater. That's not accurate.
You've been saying, I just kind of wish they.
No, what I'm saying is that I've always said that for what you have to pay him, your roster is just limited outside of that, and he's not like a Mahomes Burrow type that can overcome it. Now this is the worst spot possible for the Vikings. I don't know what you do here. I mean, honestly, I hope they pick up like a Case Keenum or
they're gonna have to go get a veteran quarterback. Now they've got Nick Mullins on the roster, right?
Yeah, he's on IR for one more week.
He's at least competent. Like,
they can't do this Sean Mannion, and that Jaron Hall I don't believe is ready.
Oh my God.
He looked horrible yesterday. To me, like, just go and get Keenum or McCoy, somebody who's familiar with O'Connell and that type of system, and you just have to be accurate. That's the thing.
How about when the 49ers bench Purdy for Darnold, they can
bring him on.
Purdy.
Give me Purdy. That was the other thing. He's had another bad game yesterday. We need to bring in Matt Van
You guys
Winkle.
witnessed the end of the Purdy era.
You and Don are such. He's fine. Just calm down.
Look what happens when you give my boy Purdy a concussion. Your boy
Cousins
goes down.
You're gonna blame it on the concussion?
3 straight losses. I'm not doing
Are you okay, Matt? I was worried about you yesterday, but I didn't want to rub it in your face.
Brock
I was
actually
rooting for the Niners.
Brock actually had his best game passing in his NFL career yesterday. But
well, he threw those two picks.
When you don't factor in the interceptions?
Yeah, throw those out the door.
He did look pretty good.
He had the most passing yards.
That was the most, but that looked like Brock in college yesterday. Where
he had back-to-back interceptions.
He makes these maddeningly bad plays, and then he'll make a play that's like, oh my God, this guy is like all pro. Like it. Yeah. And
well, the first one he
was
threw,
just steady, and he's not that anymore. So
the first one he threw
was
a true, showing his being a rookie.
He's clearly pressing without Debo in there, and they've got to get help. Did Trent Williams play yesterday?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's another thing. So Matt, a little bit worried there. It is Beggars Night here in the Metro. You wanted to talk about Halloween etiquette?
Wait, so you guys already did your trick-or-treating, right?
Bondurant does it the Saturday before Halloween.
So what will you do tonight?
We go over and trick-or-treat with friends in Ankeny on.
Wait a second, you're doubling up?
Oh, yeah.
Why are you allowing your daughters to do that? That's not teaching them good life lessons.
Well, to be honest, we just have a bunch of friends in Ankeny that want to see the girls, and so we take them over there. That's basically how it goes. It's fun. They got costumes. Let them get in their costumes. And
now, are they going to wear the same ones they wore on Saturday?
Yeah,
or different ones?
Same ones. Ghostbusters.
So we're doing it like most sane people do throughout the rest of the country. You do trick-or-treating on Halloween. What a crazy concept. But I'd like to know, like, what's the etiquette for, being in a neighborhood, being in a house in a neighborhood where there's a lot of trick-or-treaters. Like, how do you feel about a house that turns the lights off?
I don't like it.
What do you feel?
I'll give you another hot take.
Yeah.
You want a hot take?
Yeah.
When these kids go out trick-or-treating, one parent goes with them, one parent stays at home and hands out candy.
That's what you want to see?
Yeah, because what I don't like is when I'm staying home and I'm giving your kids candy, and I'm out here. I mean, I have decorations up. I got lights. Now I don't expect everybody to go that far.
I don't even
But
have
why
a
should your
pumpkin.
kid get candy, but my kid's not, and you're just going to turn your light off so both of you can walk around with your kids? When I was a kid, I'd walk around for 5 hours by myself with my friends. My parents didn't even go with me.
No, my parents never went with me.
We didn't want our parents with us.
Yeah, what is with that? Why are parents always with the kids now?
Yeah, they're worried about like abductions and stuff like that.
Did they not have abductions in the 80s and 90s?
I don't know.
I just went around
my
with my
parents certainly
neighborhood
didn't
friends.
care. I think one parent walks around with them. One parent, you stay at home and you hand out candy. You don't both need to be there.
What if you don't have a kid and you turn off the lights and stay home anyway?
Then you're just a curmudgeon.
Okay. Iowa Nepo Baby says I should answer the door as Lou Holtz or Couteret. I'm still trying to figure out what we're going to do. The wife has COVID. We might just put out. How do you feel about like the people that just put the candy out in the driveway, like on a table? Take one.
I guess it comes down to this.
Because we've got candy. We're going to give candy away.
What kind of
but
guy are you?
I don't.
Like,
You
are
know
you?
what kind of guy I am.
So this is what I would encourage you to be, Chris. Sure, like I know you're a very selfish individual. You'd rather be out in there in your pool, drinking your bourbon, having a cigar. I understand this. I would encourage you for one night to, swallow that pride, and I'd like you to go out and try and make the night better for young people in your neighborhood.
You really think I'm going to make the night better for young
Yeah,
people? They don't care. Those young people, all they care about is getting candy. They don't care about meeting
you can build them
me.
up. This is just
do you
like
mean
the
build 'em up?
cross-country thing. Don't tear them down. Build them up. Hey,
I'm not
kids,
tearing
the
'em
costumes look great. Oh, sweetheart, you look amazing. Oh, my God, you look just like Taylor Swift. And then you see their smiles. Oh, my gosh, you like it? Laugh at their jokes. Play into it. Build it up for these young people.
That's another thing, and we just had someone mention it in the comments, the whole joke thing. Chris Shipley. He says, I'm a complete anti-joke guy. If a kid gives me a joke, I give them the worst candy. So I mentioned the joke thing to my Learfield crew because they live all over the country, everywhere else. They'd never heard of Beggar's Night. And I said, yeah, and they tell jokes. And they said, what? Why would they do that? Why would anyone
weird.
want that?
I get it, yeah.
Like, the poor kid has to tell the same joke at every single house, and these poor people handing out. All I want to do, if I'm opening the door, yeah, okay. Oh, you look nice. Here's a piece of candy. Don't tell me a joke. I don't want to hear a joke. Why is that a thing? What? What's the matter?
Nicholas says that if Hassel calls some girl a sweetheart, you're going to get listed as a pedophile the next day.
As a pedo, yeah. That's kind of what I thought of when you were like, "Oh, you look so good."
I'm a girl dad.
I think there's
Kyle
way too much
makes a
trouble you
great
can get
point,
into.
and he's so right. We all know this guy. If you hand out full candy bars, you will become a neighborhood legend.
No,
Quit
see, that's-
spending money on yourself. Do it for somebody else for once, Chris.
These
Reward
kids
these children.
are already getting pillowcases full of candy, and they're small pieces of candy. We're really going to give these kids full? These are kids. They're tiny. They're little people. They don't need a full candy bar at every
Make
house
their
they
day.
go to.
Make their night. Be like, man, that house with the Amish bench sign, that's where you got to go. That's the spot. The guy who's got the Amish benches.
Yeah,
He's
maybe
the
I
guy
should
on
do that.
TV, and we watch him, and my daddy always tells me how average he is at his job, but he is a legend on Halloween night.
There's already enough candy going around for all these. I mean, we're already the fattest country in the world. And childhood obesity is a major, major problem.
Then hand out carrots.
And you're advising to hand out full candy bars?
It's not your problem. That's what I always try and tell people. I did this podcast with Aiden, intern Aiden. He asked me a bunch of questions for his internship. Mm-hmm. And I basically told him, like, hey, listen, people suck. They're always going to disappoint you, okay? Like, the faster that you can understand that in life, that the majority of humans are just going to disappoint you in your life, the better life you're going to live, right? Mm-hmm. Am I wrong? I'm not saying anything that's true. My advice to you here would be this. You can't change that. By you not giving him a candy bar isn't going to make that kid obese or not. It's how his parents are raising him. That they got to make better lifestyle decisions for him. You may as well make his day. You're like the cool uncle here. Give him a big candy bar.
No, you know what's going to happen? You give him a full candy bar, and the parent's gonna say you can't eat that. No, you can't.
If he's already obese, he's going to eat it.
That just goes against everything you just said.
No, he'll find a way to eat it. Just like you did with the nudie magazines back in the day when you were living with the priest.
Wait, what? Wait. There were no nudie magazines in the dorm with the priests.
Did you have internet in that dorm?
We did have internet, but
oh my God, you're going straight to hell. You lived in a church, and you're watching pornography.
I promise you, I did not watch any pornography at St. Ambrose in my dorm room with the priests. That did not happen. I think we might just put the candy out on a table.
No! Why? Have a little fun. Lighten up.
It's not fun. It's not. Why is that fun?
It's a blast. You don't think it's fun to see all the kids in their costumes? I think it's awesome. It's like my favorite night of the year. Matt came over to our house afterwards. He went trick-or-treating, took his daughter with my daughters. And I was doing Iowa State postgame. I couldn't get out there until there was like 20 minutes left. I was like dejected because I had missed it all.
Yeah, because you probably go out there, you get all drunk. I'm just sitting at home on a Tuesday night. God, Nicholas, what a horrible comment. I'm not even going to show it. We're way over time here.
You got to get to work. We should have just done Halloween talk the whole time, to be honest.
I don't know what to do yet. Because we've done the whole handing out the candy, but then, like, the candy, you run out, and then you have to shut the door on other kids' faces.
Get more candy.
Sorry.
Buy more. Buy extra. It saves for next year.
What do you mean? You're using candy from years ago?
No, because ours is always gone. Honestly, like we handed out over 500 pieces of candy this year.
500 full-size candy bars. How much would that cost?
No, I can't afford that. How many do you get down there? Probably not a lot.
I don't know, because it's always we've tried different things. The first year we locked ourselves in the back of the house and turned all the lights off. The second year we left.
Just miserable human.
But then we felt bad for our dog because our dog was home alone. And the third year we did hand out candy, but we ran out fast. And we just didn't have enough, and it was kind of embarrassing.
So you're telling me you don't have decorations out in front of your house, like lights?
I don't even have lights for Christmas. We just have our regular lighting.
You're a sad individual.
No pumpkins.
You're a sad individual.
See, these are the perks when you don't have kids. You think it's a perk to take your kid trick-or-treating? Oh, it's so much fun. No, it's fun to not have to worry about finding a costume, taking a kid out. And here comes Van Wink
Matt's
with
closing
his
off with
snot-nosed baby.
Holding my daughter, and she just pooped.
God.
Right in my hands.
Did you go poopy? Did she
Yeah.
go poopy?
My little boo.
Oh, she's
a
Williams,
poopy
little
we didn't even talk about you trying to pass off tomato soup as chili with your daughter. You're like, look, here's my daughter. She's dipping cinnamon rolls in chili. And it's just a bowl of tomato soup.
It's not what it is. Cameron,
Look at that thing. Look,
she likes to eat all of the meat and beans first, and then she dips the cinnamon roll in the sauce or in the liquid. Look at that little champion.
And how old is she now? 5?
He's 8.
My dad. What did my dad say? He's like, 5-year-olds don't eat chili. And you're like,
You're a little off, Don. Get out of here.
why
All
is
right.
your whiskey glowing? Your whiskey is glowing in the background.
Well, I have my Circus Sports hat here that's covering up I have a candle.
Oh, there's a candle back there. Okay.
That is bootleg Templeton Rye in that whiskey thing right there. That's like the real stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's like a Waterford Crystal little
Yeah.
whiskey holder there. Nice.
All right. Get out of here. Love you guys.
Now, JTB 24/7 is with me. He says he's Team Hassel on Halloween and Christmas. Going all out is unnecessary.
Unnecessary if you're just a curmudgeon that hates life. And
Look, if you're a
giving joy to
curmudgeon,
other
just
people.
embrace it, man. Just I am who I am. Okay? I am who I am.
he is who he is.
Hey, Van Wink, are you ever going to take off that stupid Threads logo on our...
Ooh, I probably should.
God.
Is it dead yet?
Replace it with what is it that that Liebel wants us to replace it with?
Blue jeans.
Blue sky.
Blue jean?
Blue
Blue
sky.
sky?
There you go. Get out of here. He's Chris Hassel. I'm Chris Williams. Maddie Van Winkle producing. We'll see you guys on Thursday.